Hello everybody, and welcome to this new track guide of Long Beach in the GTP. I'm using the Acura today, but first off I want to thank all of you, each and every one of you, for the little guide that I made for spotting a difference of like comparing two laps just visually. That video currently has over 1,000 views, which is, I never thought I'd see that figure on one of my videos. It's literally just a kid and there's a uni-dorm ranting and trying to explain something. And granted, they're not very good. I just try and push out as much information in them as possible. Like, I don't try and hide things. So I just speak what I think is correct, and it's not like I know anything else more. Like, I'm always going to share what I know, if that makes sense. Like, I'm never going to hide anything. And it's been really great to see all the positive feedback as well. Even some some criticism, which is obviously fine. That's good, that improves the channel. Even seeing some people message me in lobbies and just being like, hey, I saw that video, thank you very much. That's just like a massive surprise. I never thought I'd have that. So thank you very much. So what's this week? This week we're in it's not currently this week, but it's tomorrow. We're in the Acura. Well, I am. We're in Long Beach, and this combo is very spicy, but initially it's very difficult. Like, I'm not going to undermine that. I've done over 200 laps on this because I basically just quit doing Monza for the week. Because every time I'd start on like pole or the first front row or whatever, I just get absolutely pile drived onto T1, and I'm just like, no, because safety rating goes down, iRacing goes down. I think Long Beach will be maybe I'll regret saying this, but I think it'll be okay-ish as long as the first lap goes well, or if you start high up in the field. So let's get that quali down. Correct. Let's get a good quali down so we start higher up, and then we can race normally. And once you get the tyres warmed up in Long Beach, you'll have a good time. It's not too bad, but initially it is. So I've done over 200 laps. The lap time that we achieved was a 107.962, which I believe will be quite competitive. It depends who is going to play this week, because I was speaking to some other guys, and they're like 7, 8, 9 KI rating, and they're going to sit out this week as well, because there's bound to be a few accidents here and there, or probably more than that, but there's bound to be a few accidents. There's a high risk. It's high risk but high reward. This track is very rewarding, and I want you to see that. So I'm going to do my best to share all my sort of tips and tricks within this track guide. But let's get started. Okay, so we're coming up onto the front straight. We cross the finish line, and basically what we want to do is just keep it tight all the way around, keep it flat, pinned, and then I will stop when we get to the braking zone. Okay, so we keep it all around, nice, yep, and then we look for this foreboard. We can get over, but we don't want to get too far over, and I will tell you exactly where we can be. So we can have our steering wheel, basically, you see this little notch thing? As long as it's very specific, but it's what I've found. See this, where my mouse cursor is? You have the notch in the middle, and you have that right bump. As long as that is somewhere over this red line, in between the red and white line, you are okay. That's the best way to judge it. Let's see how much I took this lap though. So pretty close. I think I could have used a teeny bit more, but that's pretty good. I'd say that's pretty bang on. Okay, so we brake at 400, brake to 100%, we shift down, we shift into second. We're spotting, turning earlier than you think, and we don't really want to hit the raised part of this curb too hard, and that becomes a very common theme around here, which we'll get onto. So brake at the 400, shift down, 100% brake, trail off, and then get back in the power once the car is going to make the corner. So boom, back in the power. Now we stay right. I've seen some people like come over here. Do not do that. Stay all the way, hug the inside of this. It's going to also save you time because you're travelling a short distance, but also it's going to open up the roundabout a lot more. But we'll get onto that. So we brake once we exit this, once we stop hugging. And basically what we want to do, we want to go straight, get as close as possible to this wall, and then flick your wheel left just a little bit, just to open this up just that little bit more. It makes such a difference. If you don't do it, genuinely it makes a massive difference. You can gain a lot of time just by flicking the wheel left. It's not really a flick, but you know, you you quickly turn left, open up the corner more, and then we ride the inside curb. But let's get to it. Yeah, so we flick left just a little bit, open it up, and then we want to get on this red and white curb, but we can't really mount the roundabout too much because the suspension's really low. The car's sitting really close to the ground, so if we mount it, the car gets a bit unsettled. So we trail, we get back on the power, and I'm going to tell you an interesting tip here. Yeah, so do you see how I lifted here? So we can smash into traction control all we like, really, but if we just bleed off the throttle just the littlest bit, you'll get less surface temperature on the tyre, which will give you more grip on the rears throughout the next few corners, which I find really useful because one of the corners coming up is very, very finicky. It's very fiddly. So you need to have rear grip for it. So if you have like a sort of you can do this don't get me wrong, you don't have to lift. Sometimes if you have a really good like straight line exit, you don't have to do this, but I compromised it just a little bit. I ran a little bit wide, so that's why I did it. Brake. We brake basically when we get near the start of these advertisements on the wall. Shift down into second. We try not to mount the raised part too much. So we sort of did it, but it bounces us. Even just the teeniest bit of the raised curb will bounce us. Bring it all the way as close to the wall as you can get. Obviously, risk is in it. There's also a factor that you should just consider, considering you only have 2 laps in qualifying. You know, you don't really want to mess it up. But let's go into chopper. Let's see how close we got. So we got pretty damn close. Far chase would probably be better, wouldn't it? Yeah, so we got pretty close. But the closer the better, without obviously touching it. Okay, so approach our next braking zone. There's not really a good braking marker here. I think you could use this. Yeah, okay, I spot one now. We can use this middle line as our braking marker, but to be honest, I do it on feel on this corner. So shift down into second, and little trick here as well. This corner is very vital for a good lap. Very vital. So if we get this corner right, happy days. We saved a lot of time. So basically what we want to do is just down into second, and we can cut a lot here. So we can miss out all this. See the outside curve where my cursor is? We can basically cut all that, but we have to at least 2 of our wheels need to mount the inside. Boom, like that. That's looking. Do we have like left front? Oh, there we go. Perfect. So yeah, we can miss this outside, but we have to sort of clip the inside here, and you'll know that you got it right because you won't get launched or you won't get a slowdown. So it's all about finding that balance. But this is what works best for me, because you can cut like a teeny bit more, but the thing is, if you get on this very raised part here, the car bounces up. And also, you can probably notice in my inputs right now, coasting. This is something that I also wanted to share with you. I think in this corner it's faster to coast. Reason why is because when you're on the brakes like this, the front suspension obviously is loaded now at the front. So when you go over this curb, it's going to boot you up. Think about if you compress a spring and then suddenly release it. If you compress the spring less, it's going to have less elastic potential energy, I think. So it's obviously not going to rebound as high, so you won't get launched as much. So when you come near this curb, just coast. Coast. Once you feel all 4 of your tyres have hit the ground, get back on the power. Hope that was a good explanation. Yeah, so we land, you can hear it, and then we get back on the power. Boom, braking markers. It's basically when the 2 exits my screen, which will be near enough the same as you, because we all have this little sun cover on the top here. And what we want to do, shift down into second and get as close as possible to this wall. So you start turning in. I don't really use turning markers, but just use our feel again. And then we want to get as close as possible to this wall. And once we feel the car is planted, we start feeding on the throttle. We don't want to suddenly get onto the throttle here, because the rears light up, and then we get oversteer in the next corner, which is just a death sentence. So now I can feel the car's steady, it's settled. I start feeding in the power. Obviously I'm not like really exaggerating it, but we don't get right to 100% straight away. So our next braking zone, 2-board again. And we can cut all the way through here, get as close as possible to this wall. Be very careful here with your trail brake, it's a very light one. Obviously the initial brake is pretty hard, excuse me, but the final phase of the braking is very light, because this corner is very tail happy because of all the bumps and stuff. And also when you cross this curb, you're changing the, I don't know if this curb is a little bit raised, but it feels like it when you cross over it. So the car unsettles the teeniest bit, and then once we pass this, we get back on the power. Also, it's worth mentioning, it's not too, you don't want to really prioritize exit here. Like you don't prioritize exit as much as you think. Aim for a well-rounded corner. And what I mean by that is you're not compromising exit too much, but you're not compromising the mid corner too much. Just go for a well-rounded, nice trail breaky corner. Just take it normally. Then we come up the back straight, and then we get as close as far right to the far left as we can. Brake at the freeboard, shift down into second, and I will tell you the track limits. So, watching other track guides, well not really track guides, but hot laps, so like P1 docks and high-mo hot laps. I did try the P1 set. This is not the P1 set, by the way. This is a fixed qual with, I also added in the new bop changes, which is minus 1.5% power and 6 kilograms. So when you do hot laps in practice, make sure you're using that, otherwise you're going to get false results. So the track limits here, we can pretty much get all the way far over to the right, but I can't explain it. We have to leave a little bit of a gap between us and the barrier, otherwise we're getting off track. But I've also seen different lines where no one really gets on these teeth. But I sort of do, because I think if you cut enough, the compromise on exit, it makes up for it in the mid corner. So it does bounce us a bit, but we can see that we get on the power reasonably early here anyway. So aim for the middle of the track, don't over prioritize getting over to the right as far as possible, because anyway after this corner, you know, you basically have no time until the hellish hairpin. So aim for the middle of the corner, you're going to hit the limiter in second. There we go, did you hear that? Let me shut up. Boom. Hit the limiter, and then slowly trail brake. It's a very light trail brake, just wait for the car, patience. This is a horrible sector though, it took me a while to figure this out. So patience on the brake. Boom, shift into first once we start exiting this first curb. And you can see the literal 1% of the brake here. That's what we want. We just want a teeniest bit of bite on the front tyres, so we stop understeering, because we get a lot of understeer in this corner. And then once we the car's now reacting to our input, we get back on the throttle. Get as far over to the left as possible. We can get closer here, but this is a pretty good last hairpin. And basically, I don't have too many tips for this hairpin. Just let Jesus take the wheel is the best way to say it. I mean, it's really, it's horrible. Okay, I will actually explain it, but yeah. Okay, so we go into first. I keep saying basically. Right, so we go into first. And I found a little trick, but it's very hard to reproduce. We can flick the rear end out here. Like, I'm not joking. We can get it to oversteer almost. And it's faster than having no slip angle into this corner. But it's very hard to do repeatedly. So the best way to do it is we accelerate a lot here, and once we start closing in, we are quite harsh on the initial brake, and that gives us that really pointy front end, and then we're quite aggressive with the turning and just cut as much as possible. You can hear me even tap the barrier there. That's what we want to hear. That's exactly what we want to hear. We want to tap the barrier. We want to get as close as possible to it. And then you can see here the car is very boggy now because it's really low speed. I mean, it has no power in this rev range. So we can afford to smash the throttle down before we're even remotely straight. And then you can see I'm sort of fiddling around. I'm doing these micro lifts, and that's basically because the engine revs are now becoming in their power range. And if we keep 100%, we're going to absolutely light up the rear tyres. I've done it so many times. So just get the feel of it. As you can see here, I got a bit excited because it took me a while to get this 107.962. So that's the best that I could do. I mean, I'm sure there's some of the people that are doing ridiculous lap times, but from the P1 docs and the Hymo videos, they're doing 107.7s on an esports set. So, I mean, it's a pretty decent lap time, but I didn't really... The P1 docs set was a bit... I don't know how to explain it. It was very... It didn't feel that much different from the stock, but yeah, I'm gonna go through another lap as well. We're gonna see the difference because I feel like this lap was better in a few places. Yeah, so the first sector was very nice. Yeah, so that time we didn't even have to compromise. This is what I was talking about. We didn't have to lift off the throttle to release the traction control. Right, so I'm going to play this uninterrupted hot lap. Right, that is a hot lap of Long Beach with the Acura. I just want to quickly show you how you do this, how to set it up. So what we do, if we want to practice something and have very similar track conditions, what it's actually going to be. I didn't really know this until now. We just click on a schedule, press drive now, test drive, and it'll be relatively similar to what the schedule will be. Not 100%, but very similar. So we can expect to see something like this in, well, tomorrow. So basically when people will watch this video, not everyone, but some people will watch this video. But if you want to know the weather, it's right here. So 19 degrees, info, testing has moderate usage, 48%. So yeah, it's pretty modest. And splits, because I'm sure I don't really show these enough, but there's my splits. So we can see that, yeah, the final sector was amazing. Sector 3 was a bit meh. Sector 1 was really good, because those optimal laps I didn't factor in the new bop changes, so it explains why it's slow on the straight, because we get minus 1.5% power. But this was a bit sloppy. But if I am way off the pace, which I very much could be, I will try my best to make a new one of these, and we'll scrap this one and forget it's ever happened. But I do hope it's helped some of you. Thank you again for all the comments, all the views from my last 2 videos. It's really good to see everyone interact and stuff. If you have any suggestions what you want me to see me do, let me know. I'm going to do a more advanced jailbreaking guide as well, because there's so many things you can do with jailbreaking, and it's just an endless possibility of what you can do, of what techniques there are to it. So I'll be doing more of them, so keep your eye out. But yeah, I will try and use a software editor at one point for these videos and just like cut out when I like mumble or stutter or like I feel like I didn't get my words out properly. So I will increase the production quality slowly. I just don't have too much time right now. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you next time.